guys, it's me, Jenna from the White Witch Parlor. Thank you so much for coming back to watch another video. Today I want to keep it a little bit low-key and do just some Q&As for you guys. I do get a lot of questions from you often. I can't always answer them all, so I thought this is the best way to kind of get a few in there, answer them kind of one-on-one, kind of like we're hanging out. And it is my little tea time kind of vlog thing with you guys. So today I do have my tea and my magical tea cups. So I do have these available on my website. I know a lot of them sold out really fast, but I'll have more soon, I promise. So let's start. Go ahead and grab your favorite cup of tea and let's hang out. So the first question is from Catherine Asaro from Facebook, and she asked what was my 5 favorite witchy tools. So I'm gonna have to say it's incense, candles, crystals, let's see, what else? Herbs, of course, and the elements. I really like just working with the elements that I have outside: earth, wind, air, or earth, air, fire, and water. And I know that these are my favorite things and tools to work with because I work with them all the time, so much so that I made a little business out of it. And so I got so into making my own incense and all these things and giving them away that people were like, oh my god, these are amazing, you need to make more, can I buy some off you? And it just kind of spiraled from there. So those are definitely my personal 5 favorite tools to work with. The next question is from Desiree Horton of Facebook, and she asked, do you repeat spells, or do you have a specific few that you go back to, or do you make up your own new ones each time for each ritual, or do the spells you use come from other people? Okay, so that's kind of a lot of questions in one, but really a lot of the spells that I do, I kind of make my own. For a long time, what I used to do was read a lot of the Wiccan books and the spell books, and I would be like to a T trying to follow everything. And the problem with that is a lot of the tools that they list aren't always available or easy to find, or it just means going out and spending a bunch of money trying to find all these tools that just make the spell, they do make the spell work, but the problem with that is you almost get discouraged because you spend so much time trying to locate all these tools and the ingredients that you need that you just kind of like give up, or you decide you don't need anymore, which is funny because whatever you're trying to cast a spell on might have already solved itself anyways. So over the course of my studies and personal, growth, I realized that I really did just like creating my own spells, and I found myself doing it often. And at first I was like, oh, maybe these won't work right, but then I came to the conclusion that of course they're going to work because I believe in them, and that's the key to all magic. And I started just studying more and more different properties and correspondences of different herbs and crystals and oils, and really you can make your own spells, and you can definitely incorporate all the correspondences. So if you're doing money magic, for example, and you know that cinnamon, lemongrass, peppermint, dragon's blood, there's so many different herbs and resins and oils that you can use to really cleanse your energy vibration for money. You can use different herbs to attract money, to clear negative energy with money, like if you're fearful of money or you're not attracting it that great. So I started developing my own spells through this knowledge, and just it was kind of like math. I saw it like math because it's like you got part A, part B, you put them together, you get part C. And with that it's all about intent and belief. So really you can take any kind of object and just bless it. And if you don't have a citrine stone, you can bless an object for abundance and prosperity, and then all of a sudden you can use that stone or that item in your spell. So really you can use whatever you have. It's all about intent. It's all about your energy and how much you believe. So as for other spells, of course I do reuse spells that I know work. A lot of my spells I put into my oils and things like that. So if I need a quick fix for something, or if I'm going to be going out in public for a day and I know I need to shed some of that negative energy that I might be picking up from people and do like a release, I will just use my release spell because I've already done the work. I've already put the magic into that. And as for doing spells with rituals, there are some stuff I like to use books and guidelines from original spells and old spells. Sometimes I tweak them so that I can use what I have available to me, but I also do kind of whatever I'm drawn to at the time and what I feel my intuition needs. So if I'm drawn to do something or change something, I just go for it. I don't worry about it. I don't think twice about it. And all I know is that my intent is still there. So no matter how much I change a spell, for me, it still always works because it's my intent. Tea break. The next question comes from Julian Cat on Instagram, and I chose this question because a lot of people were actually asking similar questions about incorporating their family into their practice and kind of letting people know what they do and almost coming out of the broom closet in a sense. So I wanted to go with this, but she asked, what would you suggest to do if you're afraid of fear or judgment or misunderstanding to be your magical self around your family and friends? So that's a really tricky one, because if you're afraid, I wouldn't come out right away. I would not come out of the broom closet because you don't even really know what you're doing. You don't trust or fully 100% believe in yourself yet. So if you're coming from a place of fear, it's probably not the best time for you to come out of the broom closet. You want to get really, really comfortable in your craft, in your knowledge, in your wisdom, and you really want to know that whatever someone asks you, you have an answer to. You need to feel confident about that, because you're going to get a lot of weird questions from your family and friends and people that you meet that find out, oh my God, you're a witch. And, they're going to say, well, doesn't that, the first question's always, well, does that mean you worship Satan? Does that mean, you do dark magic too? Or do you put curses on people? That's always the first thing people ask. So I find that interesting, because that means that most of the world and most of the people in the world are vibrating really strongly from that place of fear and like anger and worry, because they're always worried there's a curse placed on them. And I think that's bizarre to me, because I never felt that way. Once or twice, but not like how most people are feeling like there's a specific curse on them. But you want to feel really powerful in your knowledge. And if that means 2-3 years of writing in your book of shadows, journaling everything that you've learned and your wisdom, and really just diving into the books and really just learning everything about yourself, your soul, what kind of witch you are. Are you drawn to certain elements? Are you like a hedge witch or a kitchen witch, or what are you? And those are all things that you need to really just kind of get in touch with yourself and figure out before you come out. And this would be coming out for any situation, any kind of lifestyle that you choose. If you're trying to come out, you need to feel secure about who you are, so that if someone even says something negative to you, you can take it with a grain of salt, and you don't have to feel so bad about it, because you're going to get 1 or 2 people in your family who, or maybe a lot of them, but you're going to get people who disagree strongly. They have strong opinions in a negative light, and they'll never understand your path, and that's okay, because through your path you will teach them. So as long as you keep on your path, you keep level-headed and balanced, you will know what it is you are doing in this lifetime. So all you can do is teach them by example, and all will be well. The next question comes from Enchanted Witchcraft from Instagram, and she asked, how do you keep yourself from getting discouraged when business is low? And I wanted to also address this, because this is not just for my business, but this is for a lot of small businesses. And the first thing I have to tell you is remember that you are not working for someone else except yourself. And that right there is the biggest blessing, and it's so fun. And even if you're just making ends meet, you are doing what you love, and you're getting paid to do it, and you're not working for some guy who's paying you, or you're not working under the man. And that is such a beautiful thing, and to be able to do that alone is wonderful. So keep counting your blessings, never give up, and every day keep yourself busy creating. Don't sit there and stare at the numbers and say, oh my God, I'm not making enough this week. Oh man, I haven't made $1 yet today. Don't worry about that. If you keep creating, everything else will fall in place. So you just keep yourself busy. You keep doing what you're supposed to be doing and doing what makes you happy. And if you're doing that and staying in that vibration, money will flow to you in full abundance. Never doubt that and never fear that. When I first started business, I had those days, I had those doubts, I had those weeks where I was like, oh my God, I've only made $5 this week. What am I going to do? How am I going to feed myself? But I always remembered and reminded myself, we're going to get through this, we're going to get past this. And then I would always sit there and think, why am I attracting this energy? Why am I attracting slow business? And of course there's patterns as well. You have slower seasons and busier seasons, but you need to also stay positive through it all. When you're really busy, count your blessings. When you're slow, count your blessings. Just always count your blessings no matter what. Another thing that you should definitely do is always keep a budget. I haven't worked a real job, or I shouldn't say a real job, but I haven't worked a regular job since about, I want to say, I think it was 2006. So I've been freelance working for myself for a long time now. And I've taught myself over the time to really budget myself, because I never knew how much money I was going to make the next month. So if I made a lot of money the month before, I'd budget it out so that I knew it could last me at least 2 or 3 months at a time, and I wouldn't go and blow my money everywhere. So I kind of taught myself that, and that is really hard to come off of and teach yourself if you're coming off of a regular job and you're used to a paycheck like every 2 weeks or every once a month. But if you learn how to do that, you won't have to ever worry if you have a slow month, because you know you're backed up from the month before. So it's all about budgeting and just staying positive, because that's what you can do right now, and you can do that today. Okay, so the next question comes from Facebook as Tracy Zian. I think I'm saying that right, I hope so. She says, how do you prepare yourself for the changing seasons and how it could reflect your own changes? So I covered this in a couple videos, I think for Mabon and Samhain, and you know, we are like nature. We are nature, and we mimic everything that nature is doing. So when the autumn equinox comes around and the leaves start dying and shedding, we're also doing that. We're releasing things, because that starts to fall into the witches' Thanksgiving and the witches' New Year, and it's a time to basically start fresh again, start new. And when winter comes, there's, for example, on the trees, there's no more leaves on the trees, and the trees are bare, and they're basically starting over. They have died, but with death comes new life. So the same happens with us. And so for every season, I like to mimic what nature is doing. When spring is coming and things are starting to bloom and blossom, I like to feel like I'm spiritually blossoming. There's something inside me that's coming to new birth, new light, new life. And I like to feel that and embrace that. And so a couple of the ways I embrace that stuff is by decorating my sacred space or my home with little things. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch of stuff. It could just be a few things, something at the front door, something on your table as a centerpiece, places where you see the decorations often. And you can always decorate your altar, go full on out and just decorate your altar with each like Sabbath or season that comes along, because that's what I like to do, because that's what starts the intention and that energy at the beginning of each season. So if you do that, it really does help set your mind, because you're spending a couple hours that day just decorating. You're taking old decorations off from the season before, and you're putting out the new stuff. So you're starting to mentally prepare for that change in season, because you're doing it either the night before the change or the day of, whatever you feel. Or if you can't do it either of those days and your work schedule doesn't allow it, you do it sometime that week. Either way, you're preparing your mind, your body and soul for this new change, and you're really learning how to embrace the seasons. And that's a really fun thing to teach yourself to do too, is start changing with the seasons, start moving with them, and start really embracing them, and doing some like arts and crafts, some little spells that are related to those holidays and seasons. And you really find yourself getting in that vibration. Once you get in tune with nature, you'll feel a lot better about how your life path is going in general. The next question comes from Facebook, and her name is Iris Owens-Rigg. Hello, Iris. I always see your orders pop up. Thank you so much. She asked, I would love to know who some of your witchy influences and resources are, like favorite authors. Favorite authors. I don't have a specific list, because I'm always bouncing around, and I always pick whatever book I'm drawn to, whether it's at the bookstore or the library or Amazon, wherever I'm getting books. Whatever I'm drawn to, I just go with it. It could be the cover art that day, it could be the title of it, it could be just what I see in the about, like what it's about. It's whatever I'm drawn to, and I'm never particular to one specific author, because like I said, I like to bounce around and learn a little bit and take a little bit from everyone. So when I read books as well, I don't always read front to back, and I know that seems really weird. I like to kind of just thumb through it, and I might see a chapter that draws me, and I'll read that one chapter for the day, and that's it. And then I move on to a next book. I usually on my nightstand actually have like 5 books sitting there and I'll just bounce around. Like at night I'll read maybe one chapter of one and another paragraph of another, and just little bits here and there. And I like to just let my mind and my subconscious take whatever it took in, whatever my mind wants to hold, and it'll absorb all that information, and then it comes out through me as new information. Because when I hear it, I'm not saying verbatim what I read in a book, but it's pieces that my mind was able to hold on to. So it is really interesting the way I do read. I know there's a lot of great authors out there, and I like books where I learn, and I like books that have pictures because I'm very visual. But I can't actually say that I have a favorite author. I've never bought a book only because it said the author's name. It was more just because I was drawn to the cover art or what the subject was. So that's why I get a lot of questions about that actually. People always ask me what books I can recommend and what authors I can recommend, but I can't really recommend any because I just am going to what I'm drawn to, and I always recommend you do the same because that's what you need at that point in your life. So if I recommend a book to you, it may not resonate with you at all. If I say, oh, you should read this, you definitely need to read this, you probably won't resonate with it at all, and a few things might only stick and most of it will just fall off, and it's like you read a whole book and it didn't really do anything for you. So if you go to the library and you go to the metaphysical, spiritual section, pick what you're drawn to. You can even close your eyes and, skim through the books and then kind of see what you picked. And I kind of do that too when I go to the library. There's also things you can do on Amazon. You just type in keywords and those are the books you are looking for at that time. If you're looking for channeling, books on channeling, type in channeling and see what books you're drawn to, whether it's cover art, the name, something about it. Just you'll know what I'm talking about when you do it. So that's all I can really say about authors. It's kind of hard for me to recommend any specific ones because, like I said, I kind of like them all. The next question also comes from Facebook, and this comes from Miss Sally Jane Lawrence. Thank you so much you were the first question to pop up, and it says, any tips on balancing life with a non-spiritual or magical partner? And I thought that was an amazing question because I kind of actually went through this when I was going through my witchy awakening and coming to terms with who I really was and how my soul was finally coming back to who I was before, and now like making peace with it and doing my whole journey. And I remember getting scared for a little bit, thinking, oh my God, what if well, then he was my boyfriend, then he's now my husband, but what if my boyfriend, we grow distant because I'm rising on this spiritual level and he's not on the same level as me. I'm learning all these things and he's playing video games. He's very bright, but I just saw it as a different spiritual plane. Like we weren't on the same spiritual level. And I used to worry about that actually. And I would cry sometimes and tell him I'm scared that we're going to drift apart because I'm going this other direction than you, and I'm a little afraid of it, and I don't want us to drift apart. And he would be very, very understanding and say, no, never, we never will. And then finally I realized actually that it was all me getting fearful. I was coming from a place of fear, and really I just needed to grow. And once I flourished and I came to my full peak at this time in my life, I would be okay with everything around me. And then it was me making peace with myself once I fully flourished and came to my next level of awakening. And that's when I felt comfortable. And it was funny because once I changed myself and changed the things about me, he started changing too. But he was already into metaphysics, spiritual stuff, crystals, but it was like I would go up a notch and then he would go up a notch, and we'd do this race almost spiritual. And we'd start teaching stuff. He'd tell me, hey, you know what I found out today or learned? And I'd be like, that's so cool, thanks for telling me that, I never knew that. Or, oh, thanks for the reminder, on a spiritual level. So we started growing together actually, but I had just went on my own little path. I took a detour, I came back, and then we just do this all the time. So we bounce off each other with our positive energy and our spiritual growth. And if your partner, lover, best friend is not on that same path of you, you do what you need to do. And it'll all work itself out. If it's meant to be, it'll work itself out. And if it's not, and those people just don't get you, then you gotta let them go because it's not meant to be. And you can't allow yourself to be held back because you're afraid that someone else won't meet your level. So you need to flourish and you need to blossom as much as you can. And the other person, if it's meant to be, and if your vibration is really pure, their vibration will meet yours. And if it doesn't, then it's just not meant to be. So that's the main thing that I learned from that when I was going through my little awakening. And like I said, I did take a detour. I kind of went on my own little loop route, and then we finally met back up in a way, in a spiritual way. So I hope that helps. So I realize I'm kind of rambling on some of these questions, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit and just kind of do more short answers. So the next question does come from Flower Methis on Instagram, and she says, any suggestions for clarity and decision making, like crystals, meditation, herbs, etc.? And the biggest thing I could do when I'm like really trying to make a decision and I can't seem to like find that clarity and that peace of mind, I like to go to the pendulum actually and do a little bit of pendulum work, because in that you're kind of doing a meditation. So you have to first center yourself and center your thoughts so that you can kind of get in tune with the pendulum. You can smudge it, so you cleanse it, so whatever you're thinking, you're smudging yourself, you're smudging your pendulum, and you can kind of get back to your center. And then use the pendulum. If you don't have a pendulum mat, you can get a piece of paper or a whiteboard or a chalkboard and write on the board yes, no, and maybes on the board. And if you need to as well, you can write all the numbers and all the letters of the alphabet. So you can start in a meditation, and when you get into this like vibe, then you can hold the pendulum and let it sway to whatever questions you're asking. So if you need specific names or dates, the numbers and letters can really help with that. If you just need yes, no's, or maybes, then you can make a pendulum chart like that, and that will definitely help. I do have a video on pendulum work if that helps at all. You can also do a simple 1-card tarot reading for yourself. Just mix up the cards, get in tune with them, meditate with them for a little bit, ask your question while you're in this meditation space, and pull one card, and whatever that card is, that is your answer. And if you need to find more clarity, then maybe you just need to meditate and take a step away for a little bit so you can better and analyze the situation, and that might be helpful too as well. Next question also comes from Instagram, Danu Moonwolf. Hello. Your question was, do you have any ideas that you could share on home protection? Definitely yes. You can always lay a ring of black salt around your home or by the front doors and windows. You can make a witch ball or a little witch bottle with certain herbs and resins and oils that align with the vibration of protection. So star anise, you can use cinnamon is good for that, juniper berry, all these things. You can make a wreath for your front door to put that on your door, so whatever comes in and exits, it's always being protected. Because that's the main way in and out of your home. But if you do like a white sage smudge spray, and then you smudge it around your windows, or you can do a wash to your door or your windows. Let's see, you can do some crystal gridding with black onyx, tourmaline, smoky quartz. You can even use like garnet's actually really protective. You can do that and do some gridding around your home. Always starting with the front door and then placing it in every corner of your home all the way around. There's so many things. You can bless your home with a simple spell and meditation, and do that once a month to clear it. And you use certain incenses that help raise the vibration of the home, purify the energy, and kind of like make it really strong, like strong aura on your home. So there's a lot of ways. I did have a protection spell video that I did not too long ago that might help you out. I also have some things on my website that might help you out, so you can read on them, and maybe you can make your own at home. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to do it. You can always hold like a little meditation prayer circle with your family and just kind of bless the home in general if you don't have any tools, and just use a candle and all of you get together and make that happen. So it's your home, it's your reality, and you can make that home as strongly protected as you want. So the last question for today is from Instagram, and it's JME Green 14, and she says, what inspires you, and what are some recommended readings for us beginners on our magical journey? So I kind of addressed the readings on like books and authors in the previous question, but the thing that really inspires me is you guys and my life and everything I surround myself with, and the comments you guys give, these positive light beings that you guys are. Like you just bring me to the whole next level. I get inspired by a lot of that stuff. I also get inspired by other people who are doing what they love. When I see people and meet people that are getting stuff done that just is everything that they ever wanted in their life, I'm like, that's what I want. That I want to be like that. And I also am aware that I am like that in my life right now. In my current reality, I'm exactly where I need to be and want to be. And I find that very inspiring that I got here, because I remember not too long ago, a few years ago, what I wanted. I saw it and I envisioned it in my mind, and then I made it happen. And you can't just think it and it appears. You have to have movement. You have to always take steps forward. If there's something you want in life, you have to make it happen. It means getting outside and doing it, or if it's something online, then getting online and doing it. But it starts with you, and if you can find things that inspire you, pictures or movies or music really inspires me. Music does so much to me, and it really changes my mood, and I use it when I need to calm down. I'll use mellow music, and I'm sure as most of you do, if I need a pick-me-up, I'll listen to more like upbeat music, and watch happy movies and things that make you feel good. And all these things together inspire me. The nature inspires me, the seasons inspire me, people I meet inspire me, just so much, so many things. Everything that I want out of life, and keeps me inspired and keeps me going as well. So that's what keeps me inspired. And I am sure most of you say, well, that makes sense. Obviously, we all do that, but that's how I feel. It's just I'm inspired by everything that's around me and within me, and I know there's some crazy powerful magic happening within me at all times, and that keeps me going as well and keeps me really inspired. So anyways, I hope you guys did like this video. You can give it a thumbs up if you like. I'm going to try and do a Q&A once a month with you guys, because I like hanging out with you and drinking some yummy tea. So I hope you do subscribe to the channel so you can always get more videos. This is kind of me one-on-one with you, and hope to see you next week. Hope you have a really magical week, and I love you all so very much. Bye. Love you guys.